Hi everyone, welcome to the reading. As always, please take what resonates and leave the rest. So right off the bat here we have the number 40, Mindful Groupthink. There's a lot going on in this card. There might be a lot going on in your life. And even if there's not a lot going on externally, there could be a lot going on within your mind here. We have a carousel. Things could be going around in circles. This groupthink here may be feeling influenced by the collective and what's going on externally and what other people are thinking here. This could also be unlocking your mind here with this keyhole, unlocking to create or to have some, some aha moments, some epiphanies, some new realizations. And with the rose here, it's like new ideas are blooming. There's almost somewhat of a storm up in the top left. I'm being drawn to that umbrella. That doesn't seem to be a very good umbrella against whatever those storm clouds are going on there. And again with that clock and the cycle of time, cyclical things like the merry-go-round, something going around in circles, or something that feels a little bit repetitive, or maybe something that's just keeps coming back up in the mind, round and round we go. Maybe we can't find any way to find a closure or an end to this circular topic. So I think who this message is for, or who is going to resonate with this message, is definitely experiencing some sort of focus right now in their life when it comes to the thoughts they are thinking, the ideas that they are allowing to, come into their mind, and the ideas that you have in your mind create your beliefs, and the beliefs that you have cause you to see even more of that in your world around you, right? It's like how the brain is actually wired to have a confirmation bias, right? So it's like, what are those things that you're planting in your mind? What are the things that you are thinking about? What are the things that, even when it comes down to the social media, the things that you're looking at? And it's always good to stay informed, but just make sure that you're not looking at too much negative stuff. There's still great things happening, as well as a lot of horrible things happening in the world right now, right? So it's like being aware of what's going on, still staying conscious and still staying aware, but making sure that we are looking at our mind as if it's a garden. Like, what are we planting? What are we hoping to grow? What are we wanting to nurture? Are we planting seeds of hopelessness, or are we planting seeds of hope for the future? Are we trying to create something beautiful in our minds? Most people, I think, would say yes, obviously. Um, and obviously, at times we all struggle with, feeling, you know, maybe not so hopeful, or feeling like we can't, get out of this like spiral, or this struggle, or just feeling like, the storm energy even, and not necessarily feeling protected, maybe not knowing how to you know protect your mind I'm almost seeing this like these are like ruins, so like an older building. It's not really doing much to keep that garden safe. So maybe there's some things to do like mental boundaries and just deciding for yourself, social media, for example, like, okay, I'm gonna watch enough to be informed, and then after that, I'm going to make a conscious decision to put away the news or maybe things that just add to a negative mindset. Um, this could be having mental boundaries and saying, hey, if I'm not feeling like I'm in a productive mind space, I'm going to put my worries away. I'm going to tell myself I'll designate some time to worry about them when I know I'll be effective and productive, and maybe, be able to have some patience and grace with myself or the situation. If you're tired right now, you don't have to think about all your worries all the time. It's actually really um, productive to take rest when you can clear your mind and get back into a more centered state of being, and you can allow your body and your nervous system and you're a whole system, so allowing your system to get back to its normal rhythm is actually very beneficial to you know go back to then be more effective when it comes to more stressful situations or thoughts that we need to work through. um, so that could even be a mental boundary there. So yeah, just being very careful with the things that you allow into your mind, how much, and really being aware of, what does this cause you to think and feel, and what are these what do these ideas mean to you? What is the meaning? The meaning of it is the most important thing, right? You can look at one thing and the meaning can be completely different from one person to the next. So it's really important to consciously decide what you want to allow things to mean. I mean, really, the meaning is something that um, you have creative freedom to decide. What do you want this to mean to you? Does this, is this going to be something that makes me feel hopeless? Or, usually that's, the easiest option. And sometimes it's a little hard to dig for the deeper, you know, something deeper that can say, even if it's a bad thing, like the silver lining, right? Like maybe even this, if the situation is bad right now, or maybe not so pleasant or uncomfortable, um, we might want to put a good or bad label on it, but let's say the situation is not pleasant, it's uncomfortable, maybe even painful. But what I would do in a situation like that is I would look at that and say, okay, what am I able to learn from the situation, or how is this helping me to grow? So in that way, we can usually, I would say pretty much always, find some sort of way to create a meaning for ourselves, a meaning that actually helps us rather than hinders us. I feel like that's a big part of what they're giving me for this card here. So um, we've got the next two that came out. Joyful music. This is really interesting. If you look at the corner of this card, I don't know if it'll focus on it. It almost looks like a little silhouette of this cat, and there's like some music notes. So it's this joyful muse, this inspiration. So leading us away from this maybe feeling like cloudy and unprotected. This inspiration, this muse, this joy. So again, like, even if there are maybe some less pleasant things going on, it is always important to balance that out with something that makes you feel happy. Even in times of times of struggle and grief and times of like, even what's happening globally. Like there's a lot of unrest. There's a lot of there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now. There's a lot of things that are not really not necessarily enjoyable or exciting at first glance. And so during a lot of these shifts and busyness and even like mental struggles and internal conflicts, and when there's a lot of information even going around and there's a lot of distractions and stuff, and when we're in a place that now we're consciously aware of how all these thoughts can actually lay seeds that grow and create things, like they will end up creating perspectives, right? The things that we think will create our perspectives, the things that we think about all the time, they end up creating like subconsciously held beliefs, and our subconscious beliefs actually dictate a large amount of our life. So it's like, now that you're more aware of this, you're probably also realizing just how important it is for you to also reconnect with the things that make you feel happy, the things that make you feel inspired, the things that make you feel, again, reconnected to that creative part of yourself, that part that has that creative freedom to choose the meaning that works for you, that part of yourself that can decide to take what it has, no matter what the medium is. The artist is able to take sometimes, even like scrap or what other people would consider garbage, sometimes even overlooked things, and it's all about how you work with it and what you do with it, what you do with what you have, with your intentions to create something beautiful or with the intention to create something meaningful. And that is what art is all about here, right? It's like creating something, and it doesn't always even have to have a meaning. Sometimes it can just be the simple meaning of, because you wanted to, or because it feels good, or because it makes you happy, or because it brings joy to your heart. And these things, although sometimes downplayed as trivial, they're actually incredibly powerful. The things that make us happy, the things that make us feel alive, and it's incredible how much of a difference it can make in your life when you incorporate all these little joys into it. It on a conscious level, on an obvious level, like I'm sure everybody could say, yeah, of course it's good to do things that make you happy. Like it's almost obvious, but wow, it goes so much deeper than that. Like on a the subconscious level, on a nervous system level, like having rest, having fun, having joy, feeling alive, doing things that make you feel inspired, or following your inspirations and allowing yourself to create freely without any worries about being perfect, without any worries about, if somebody's going to like this, just doing it because, this is what I want to do. This makes me feel alive. This makes me feel happy. And even though some issues still exist, right? It's not like just choosing to do things that make you happy is going to make all the world's problems and all your own problems stop to exist. However, having that balance is very important when it comes down to tending your mental garden, tending your inner spaces. Make sure that you're also adding in little touches of joy and beauty and the things that make you feel, just feel good, like feel secure, feel like your mind is a haven. Feel like, you know, you can have a sense of peace and solace and, you know, whatever whatever it is that makes you feel less restricted, whatever it is that makes you feel like you can continue to grow. Yeah. And the last card from this deck. Oh, I guess last card. I'm saying last card. So last card from this deck is the Watcher's Transpersonal. And this one's giving me a totally, it's bringing in a completely new energy here. So really what I'm getting from this card here, it's like a very grounded, very calm, observant energy. So there may be some things that just need to be observed right now. Maybe some things that maybe aren't necessarily meant to be delved into or dealt with, or you know, maybe even react to. Something that's just meant to be observed here. So again with the Watchers, and it being a card of stillness compared to the busyness of this mindful card, and even this joy, exciting energy of this joyful muse inspiration, this Watcher's Transpersonal. So there are some things that are just meant to be observed. I don't think there's much to be done, maybe more to be learned with this light more so illuminating at the headspace. There can be some insights forming right now if you can allow yourself to get into this energy of observing and especially observing the thoughts you are thinking, observing your mental space, and also observing the things that make you happy, the things that bring joy, the things that make your mind space feel like a sanctuary. There's going to be an opportunity here to learn something new. Just don't get caught up in all the busyness. You know, don't jump on that merry-go-round. You don't want to just be going round and round in circles with something here, right? You want to be able to take a step off and just sit back and observe so you can realize here, get to a clearer picture so you can see further into the distance, further onto that horizon. This is, again, feeling grounded, feeling that strength. This is giving me kind of like a very strong totem stoic, like very strength kind of energy from this one here. Your strength is in your ability to be still and observe. I know a lot of people think, or a lot of people have, the belief that, you need to take action and, defend, or and at times that would be the best thing to do. But for who this message is for, the true strength is not reacting, being still, allowing yourself to choose what you want to believe, allowing yourself to create the meaning for yourself, giving yourself enough time in stillness so that you can be the cultivator of your own garden, of your own mind. And now you know, like, for sure, if you needed a reminder, yeah, doing things that make you happy is incredibly beneficial to cultivating the mind space. Even when there are some challenges happening, don't look at it as an escape. You can look at it as self-care. However it is that you need to look at it so that you can know that you're doing something good for yourself. Disrupting that cycle, disrupting that merry-go-round by doing something different, by doing something disruptive, by doing something that would make your inner child happy. And in a way, that is actually a very wise thing to do. By connecting to the inner child, by connecting to that deep personal space that gives you that creative freedom, again, to find your own meaning. So that your mind can be full of things that you want, can be you can be full of things that make you feel happy and motivated and encouraged and inspired, versus caged in or unprotected. So somebody here is well along the way to, tending that garden within and finding that place within them where they don't feel so pulled into this, storm and unprotected by, maybe what other people are thinking and all the stuff that's going on outside of them. You're getting to a place where you can have this very centered strength where you get to feel more in control of how things affect you inside internally, and also more in control of your reactions. There will be more of a response now once you get to this place of control over your mind. You'll also become more in control over how you show up in the world, and more in control about how the other things externally affect you, and even how your own internal things can affect you. But yeah, just to close this out, basically that's all I'm getting from this message here, is you're cultivating a beautiful inner mindscape where you feel strong and centered, but also in touch with the things that make you happy. So this is a very important part of somebody's journey, creating a very strong mental foundation. This is the type of thinking and mental foundation that can actually bring somebody the distance. This is mental fortitude, mental strength, becoming more resilient and strong, and really becoming the person that can create and decide what their life means to them, which in turn decides how you experience your life. And may that be a life full of joy. So much love to you all, and until next time.